Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? We're all doing very, very well. Now look, I may work for the company, but don't let that fool you. I'm really an okay guy. Yes, this is a little update video on this jacket. This jacket was sent to me by Astradyne, your friend and mine. Astradyne, a traveller in time. Sent it a while ago, well, about three months ago, something like that. And it's an alien Nostromo, Weyland Yutani inspired jacket. And I was like, wow, it's fucking cool. It's not in the movie. It's not any alien movie. It's an alien Nostromo, Weyland Yutani inspired jacket done by some other company. And can you trust them? And it's wonderful. It's a proper sort of a beatnik, sort of, you're in a depot, you're loading up vans, trucks, you're working your power loader, if you've got a class 2 rating. But on the back of it, I don't know if you can see, I'll try and shuffle down. Can you see that? If you can't see it, I'll take it off and show you properly. But I loves it, I does. And I've been waiting for a day to be able to wear this outside. But even though you might hear some rain, we've had a lot of rain this morning. Temperatures have finally dropped down, but humidity has just gone up and up and up. So it's always too hot. For me, throughout the entire centre of the year, I don't wear sleeves. Only when you get to winter time, I put a jacket on, So I've been dying to wear this, especially because in the cask, my friend Chris, little sideline here, my friend Chris in the cask, they should rename the cask. Just call it the Chris. There's at least 10 Chris's that frequent that pub. And I'm like, all my life, I've been the only Chris around. The only one. There's been no others. There can be only one. But I start drinking in there. And what's your name? Oh, it's Chris. Oh, I'm a Chris as well. Oh, I'm called Chris. And now we're all friends. It's the Chris clan. It's unbelievable. But one particular Chris, who looks like a young George Lucas, doesn't like me saying that, but that's a compliment. Not the big bullfrog George Lucas you got these days, but the younger one, the one who had all the ideas and was a visionary. Not a company man like he is now, but he's got this combat jacket which had the typical sort of Velcro patches to put Velcro badges on, and he chose only recently to get a Nostromo patch for one side and a Weyland Yutani one for the other shoulder, but they're glow in the dark, and in a bit of a sort of AVP style, they glow the colour of predator blood. And they look really, really good, like. So I said, oh look, I'm gonna have to bring my jacket as well, so we can both be like company men, and we did. And it was Bank Holiday the Sunday before. No, it was actually Bank Holiday Monday. Let's get that right. And the Liverpool game was going to start later on that evening. And I turned up with this, and the pub, the Chris pub, was absolutely packed. There was even more Chris's were there, because there was a band playing in the afternoon. And I said, have you got your jacket? He said, yeah, it's too hot to wear. And I have mine just in my hand. I thought, I'm not even going to put mine on either. So it was, the meeting of the company men was a great big fail. It was a great night, but a great big fail when it came to Nostromo fashions. And that's really what this video is about. Nostromo fashions and Weyland Yutani. John Mollo for Alien created the costumes. He did Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. He did Outland. Outland, as we know and discussed many times, has the exact same production values, costumes and sort of production ethic style as Alien. They could exist in the same universe. They don't officially, but there's no harm in saying they do exist. Both stories revolve around a nefarious company which is deceitful and corrupt and uses its own workers and employees' lives as just pure commodities, just to be used and abused. Where have I heard that before? 36 years working for the government. I don't know. Oh, by the way, a new friend of mine, Meagher's 1878 Canadian rye whiskey. Very nice it is too. And there's I'm getting a bit of a liqueur aftertaste from this. I don't drink this as a rule, but having now inherited an enormous amount of whiskies, I'm just sampling this one today. Cheers, you all. I'm going to take this jacket off because it's actually getting very, very, very warm. But I'm going to show it to you properly because when Astradyne sent it to me, it was just as you see it. It's got that sort of, well, already sort of, it's dyed in the wool emblem here, Weyland Yutani. Nice pocket there, nothing on the sleeve. The whole big back print, which if you couldn't see it properly before, Weyland Yutani, building better worlds. Their slogan, don't fall for it. And I said at the time, well, I know what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to get one of those Nostromo patches for the shoulder. I mean, this is Brett's cap, Harry Dean Stanton, of course. And with the scrambled egg on it as well. And it's a wonderful cap. I love this cap. And went online, and you can buy packs of Nostromo and Weyland Yutani patches and badges. And I'm sure I've actually had a pack of Weyland Yutani stuff in the past. But I, for the life of me, don't know where the hell it's gone. Whether I've just lost it, hidden it somewhere, or a spook Kilt-Man has whistled it off into the ether. I don't know, but I can't find it. So I rebought one of these patches, and I went for a cheaper option, and I went for one which is slightly different than this. If you look at this, hey, that's taken off there. That's nice and stark, but also kind of dark. It's on a dark back print, isn't it? You can see the welds and the star ignited, Nostromo's number, Nostromo's name, and this sort of little rainbow pattern. Got to be careful these days sporting sort of a rainbow insignia. Might get off the wrong idea, but that's gorgeous. And if you look in the movie, everyone's got like that patch on the shoulder, and it's usually the darker that darker version. Well, the version I bought isn't like that, and I'm going to show you because it's on the sleeve now. Now I hope you can see that the ring light's going to probably ping it out. It does catch the light, and what it is, you've got the rainbow sort of pattern there. You've got the same imagery, obviously, Nostromo's number. So that ring light's really warping it out, but it is a much lighter background. And I thought at the time on the image that I saw, oh, maybe that's just the lighting that they've used for it. There were no review comments, so I thought, well, I'll take a punt on it. I didn't buy two, I just bought the one, and there's a reason for that as well. So I bought this, and it arrived, and I thought, oh, that is really faded. It's kind of like a different colour. I mean, I'm sorry, you really can't see that too well, can you? If I turn that off for a second, let's just do that. You'll probably get a much better impression. Yeah, you can see what I mean there. It's kind of like a silvery background on this, and the whole imagery is lighter, but the rest of it is pretty damn good. But there's a reason why I like this. Because A, it's unusual, it's slightly odd, and I like things that are unusual and odd. They fit my character a lot better. In the film, in Alien, one guy does have one patch on one shoulder, and it is that colour, it is that shade, and it's Ash. Ian Holm. Ash is a goddamn robot. Yes, him. And I thought, did the company again, that made that particular patch have Ash in mind? In the description on Amazon, which is where I got it from, it doesn't make any reference to Ash at all. But I think they should do that, because that is, if you watch the movie, and I could go even better than that. I've got the photo novel, which is here somewhere. There's the cover fell off. But the big photo novel is here. Hey, there it is, all there. But if you freeze the frame and have a good look anywhere at Ash's, and it's on his right shoulder as well. And of course, Ash wears that sort of pale blue military style work shirt with all the little loops to put pens in. He's got epaulets as well. Out of all the costumes that the crew and cast wear in Alien, all designed by John Mollo, his is the most militaristic. But again, we'll go on to all this. But he wears that shade of patch And again, is it a subtle thing to mark him out as being different? The fact he wears like a sort of like short sleeve military shirt over like another long sleeve t-shirt, does it mark him out as different already in your own maybe subconscious? And his patch, they all have the same patch, Nostromo patch somewhere on their outfit, but his is different from the rest of them. Subtle, yes. Cunning, yes. Deliberate, don't know. I like to think so. I think it's a clever little visual sort of, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. This guy can't be trusted. He ain't one of them. One of these kids is doing his own thing. So I thought, I'll have that one. And I likes it, I does. Because although with the ring light on, it kind of like gets warped, like you can't see it. But when I did take it out that bank holiday, only a few days ago, and the sun was beaming down, the sun hit it better than the ring light did. And it kind of shone and glowed. Not quite as good as Chris's, well, you got to wait for night time for his stuff to glow. Mine glows in the sunlight. And I thought it was great. So it was an iron-on patch. Not a huge fan of doing that because I'm really, really crap with an iron. Yes, 6 years Royal Marines, you think I'd be a bloody expert. Only throughout your phase 1 and phase 2 training does that really come in. You've got to really iron things properly, get everything exactly, precisely creased just perfectly. No. Once you're in and you're hardened, you don't get two shits. But anyway, that's across the board, by the way. You keep certain standards, obviously, but especially when there's a parade coming up or something ceremonial or a big inspection, then yeah, you do it. You do it right then. But the rest of the time, nah, it's a shit. But iron-on patches, never liked them because you put the sleeve, in this case, you put the sleeve down. They seem to put something underneath on the inside, on the other side of the material, and then you put the patch on where it's meant to go. Then you put like some kind of cloth on, and then you put the iron on. That's me making a steam noise. And I do it for the time you're supposed to do it for, like, I don't know, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, something like that. I've probably forgotten now. Probably got it all wrong anyway. And then you go, oh, right, and take it off, and it's hot to touch. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's right on there, great. And then as you lift it up, it goes, just unpeels itself. Ha ha ha, fooled you again. You're like, oh, shit. So you've got to do it all over again. And I've done this several times. So in the end, Mrs. Kilt-Man normally goes, oh, just give it here and I'll stitch it on for you. And you go, okay. I couldn't even iron a patch on properly. Well, with this, I ironed it on, and I thought it was great. But if you look, I might have to turn the lights off again. Well, you probably can't see, but those of you with 4K screens, maybe, great big 75-inch screens, that corner popped right up again. So I was like, oh, bloody hell. But Mrs. Kilt-Man stitched it all down again. And then, of course, after doing the stitching down, it was perfect. Another little bit's popped up here in the middle, a little bit there. In a way, I don't mind things like that, because the whole point of a jacket like this, it's to look lived in and worked in. As I said before, this kind of jacket, a little blouse on sort of work jacket, very light, got a few pockets, great, very comfortable, very lightweight. It's like you're working in a depot or warehouse. You're doing, the power lifters, you're driving trucks, you're doing whatever, all sort of manual labour. You are purely the grassroots, the working force of Weyland Yutani, and I like that. So I'm happy with this jacket. By the way, if I get this jacket, so I've got something stuck in my tooth. I had a sausage butty just before doing this, and I'm still eating it, obviously. But even in space, you need sausage butties. I love it, and I think that works. And again, I've done I've gone for just one patch on one shoulder, not on the other one. Ash only has one patch on. The costumes, everyone, all the crew of the Nostromo, some might wear two, some might wear one, and some they wear different things. I said Ash is the only one wearing a military style shirt to mark him out as more studious and more professional and more focused. It's a robot. Ash is a goddamn robot. All the costumes in it are, well, apart from Yaphet Kotto's, they're British RAF 1970s flight suits. They're all wearing them. But what John Marlowe's done, he's taken the flight suits. These are vintage. It was a 1972 pattern. I probably got that wrong. 1972 pattern RAF flight suits in various different colours and slightly different variations. But what he did, he added stitching up the sides for whatever reason, God only knows. But it makes it look different, because you'd have had a lot of people in 1979 when Alien came out going like, hang on, well, I served in the RAF, I used to wear that, or I'm in the RAF right now. That's my flight suit, and it might take them out of the movie. But as a flight crew, the crew of a commercial starship, these are, greasy sort of nuts and bolts workers. They're space truckers. They're not going to wear gleaming uniforms. They're not going to wear the colour-coded Starfleet uniforms. They're not going to wear the Space 1999 uniforms. They're not going to wear Buck Rogers' figure-hugging white bloody... Although I do love Erin Gray as that piece of sausage. Funny I mentioned Erin Gray as Colonel Wilma Deering in a figure-hugging white spacesuit. And the sausage in my mouth... Oh, no. That... Note to self, learn how to edit videos and take the line about the sausage in your mouth out of the video. I'm going to wash my mouth out with a bit of this. Wilma Deering looks fantastic in that. And what else have you got? You got obviously Star Wars. The Star Wars kind of where, well, Han Solo's a cowboy, isn't he? Luke Skywalker is, and John Morrow did the costumes for this as well, or worked a lot of the costume design. He's like a space Bedouin, isn't he? And then you've got all the Imperial stuff for the Imperials, which is Imperial German Wehrmacht and Nazi Regalia. And I didn't want to do this, but once again, you guys are going to go, oh, you're going to mention your dad and John Marlowe again. My dad and John Marlowe were lovers. No. My dad supplied, big kilt papa, military historian and massive collector of militaria for most of his life, had tons and tons of German helmets, German tunics, German smisers, German, got everything German. Why? He wasn't a Nazi, no, very much far from it. But German gear was always that most highly collectible, the most highly desirable. Yeah, stuff from everywhere else as well, but the German stuff was always the biggest collectible and made a lot of moolah for him. But he supplied German helmets, German uniforms for the Imperial officers, but German helmets for the Stormtroopers and for Darth Vader. And John Marlowe used them as moulds to take his costume design off. And just how was the material made? How were the insignias put? How far up the chest did it go? How far across the shoulders? He worked everything out from all the stuff my dad sent. And of course, Lucasfilm, well, George Lucas at the time was like, oh, we'll send it all back to you. My dad got none of it back. And was really pissed off about that as well. But, it's consigned to history. But John Marlowe used RAF flight suits for a lot of the crew of the Nostromo. A lot of casual blouse-on style jackets for Yaphet Kotto, who I think he has a sort of does he have a sleeveless one? I'm not too sure. Brett has a sleeved blouse-on jacket, but he's got Nostromo written across the back of it, a bit like this. But some wear the patch on both shoulders, like Tom Skerritt as Captain Dallas, but Ash wears it on one. And again, I like that sort of thing. There's a weird thing about me, despite having worn military uniforms with a lot of symmetry to them, I am massively asymmetrical in life. I am. That sounds really odd. That'll be on my cockeyed tombstone. He was very asymmetrical in life. As in life, as in death. And I'll be buried upside down, on an angle. But as every true werewolf or vampire should be, buried head first at a crossroads. So if they do come up, they don't know which way to go. That's the superstition. Oh yeah, horse shit. But yeah, I don't like things to be regimented, which is why, like, sometimes, obviously I wear a kilt and all that, like, but when I sometimes wear like big sort of Robin of Locksley, big suede boots to come up to your knee, look great with kilts, or Renaissance boots, or buccaneer boots. And the buccaneer ones especially have buckles for buccaneers. And I've got this belt, an Apache bone bead belt, which is wonderful. I haven't worn it for a while, to be honest, but if I wear the buccaneer boots, I wrap the Apache bone bead belt, that sounds great, the Apache bone bead belt around that boot. You've probably, in earlier videos, you will have seen that. Definitely would have seen it. And certainly if you're following me on Facebook, you'll have seen images of this before. So that's on one leg. I always wear the Royal Stuart bandana on the left side. So I'm asymmetrical. No matter what tartan I'm wearing, I always wear what have I just said? The Royal Stuart, to show allegiance to the true King of Scotland, Jimmy Stewart. So that's on one side, the bone bead belt's on the other. There's always something on one side that's not on the other to try and throw things off. But the thing is, as you walk up to someone, and I've got people have been papping me all the time, like and even recently when we went to Lytham, I was getting papped all the time, like. And again, there's a pouch on my belt on one side, not the sporran. The sporran would anchor you to, you become very sort of centralised with a sporran and with a tunic, you know. Let's say your Bonnie Prince Charlie or your Argyle jacket, like, and you button that up, you've become instantly very symmetrical and very centralised, very focalised, like Ash himself. But what I tend to do when I wear any one of the Argyle or Bonnie Prince Charlie, or even just a vest sometimes, I put an over-shoulder plaid fly on. It only goes on one side, obviously. So again, you're thrown off. The Highland regalia can look very symmetrical, or it can look very beautifully asymmetrical. But I tend to like that, the asymmetrical side. If you had a tour around the Kilt Mansion, you know all these fabulous canvases that are bestowed by, you know me, love him, Steve Douglas Evans Smith. For many, many years, he's been supplying the Kilt Mansion with fantastic movie artwork. And a lot of them are all down the walls and that, and in every room. But they're never at the same height. They're never, if you've got 3 or 4 across a wall, there's one up there, there's one down there, one slightly above that one, and then one higher up again. And I know to some people that's uncomfortable. To me, it's very comfortable. And there's a reason for it as well. We have a lot of bare floorboards in the Kilt Mansion, and I love the fact that we've got bare floorboards. They are noisy, but I love the sound of walking down them, or even hearing someone else walk down them, because it makes you think you're on a storm-tossed schooner. And to go along with that, all the canvases are kind of like the ship's tilting. Everything is slightly off kilter. And I know that definitely has a bit of a detrimental effect on some people. People who visit the Kilt Mansion, they've got to apply months and months in advance and be stringently vetted. And most don't make the grade, never get anywhere near. Note to certain prime ministers about keeping your borders, you know, and watching out who you let in. We've been practicing that in the Kilt Mansion forever. But once you do come in, I can tell that some people don't feel very comfortable. And it's not because like we had a rampant husky at the time, or now we've got a crazed cat who's all over the show. No. Nothing to do with that. It's nothing around them. And every room, although we're used to it, is cluttered. Yeah, it is. Despite Mrs. Kilt-Man's best efforts to try to keep a nice and tidy house, it's anything but. It's an absolute friggin' mess. It is. And it's my stuff everywhere. It's piled up. But I grew up in a house like that. I grew up in a house with Zulu shields on the walls, Zulu assegais, Martini Henry rifles, Lee Enfield rifles, Vickers machine guns, Luftwaffe propellers, Lots of German and British flags. Oh, how topical can you get? Flags. And but you were stepping over things. You know, piles of pickelhaubes. There's some great memes going up here. Piles of pickelhaubes, which my dad would be polishing. Polishing his pickelhaub. With a view to selling it, obviously. Or he'd be polishing it, or he'd be aging it. My dad was really good. He could buy stuff which, you know, this is not actually from the First World War. This is a repro that's been made sort of 1950s, maybe 60s. But I can make it look and really feel and smell authentic from the First World War. And he knew all the oldie worldy tricks of staining and wearing and stuff like, and loosening sort of fixtures, ruining fabric on the actual helmet itself. He knew how to do all these things, and then he'd sell it for, like, you know, yeah. Oh, look, it was a business. It's wheeler and dealing, wheeler dealing. That's it, and that's why I'm no good at it. I couldn't even give its proper title. And he'd sell these things. He may have bought it for, like, say, 25 quid back in the 70s. He sold it for like 300, 350 quid. And someone's like, I've just seen it, and he hasn't gone like, oh, it's genuine. He's like, oh, I picked it up from an arms fair, you know, I don't know, a couple of years ago. It's been sitting on the shelf, and they've gone like, that's genuine. And he's tarnished all the badge and the insignia, the little chains that go around the badge and all that, and go around the sides. He knew how to do it all, and he could age muskets and weapons and things, and bayonets especially. But the good stuff, you know, the good stuff was the good stuff. But what I'm saying is the house I grew up in was piled high with all this kind of stuff everywhere. So I'm used to it. So to me, having to step over piles of books, CDs, there's a pile of action figures here. You know, there's masks. I collect movie masks. I haven't done for a while because I just can't afford it these days. And the prices have gone up again. But right behind you guys, behind the banquet table, which is now folded down, there's about 40 masks wedged behind there. Really not well looked after. But hey, I lead a very hectic life. Just take a moment to reflect upon how hectic and busy my life is. Whew, all the things I've got lined up today. Oh, cheers, you. Busy. That is nice though. These are matured, this particular whiskey, the rye whiskey, is matured in oak casks. Scottish whiskey, single malt, sherry casks. But can't knock that. That's very nice and very Moorish. So say I'm used to clutter. As long as you can walk through somewhere, I think you're all right. But again, visitors come, and I don't think it's the clutter, the piles of action figures. And when people come round and we know they're coming around, then, you know, we make an effort and stand figures up, straighten some of the things on the wall, you know. just to make a token gesture. Strip some of the cat hair off the couch, you know. Go, come in, this is the best room, and they're going like that. But even those who know us and come round often, kind of like, you can tell they prefer to be in maybe a different room, you know, because it is just the pictures on the walls which are just, it's throwing them off. It's throwing their equilibrium slightly askew. That'll be on my tombstone as well. His equilibrium was always slightly askew. But anyway, other costumes in movies and stuff like, yeah. Oh, Battlestar Galactica, the 70s with Starbuck, you know, with Dirk Benedict and all that. They had great stuff. That was a brilliant costume. That it was khaki flight suit with a little a brown sort of blouse on tunic, little high tunic, which I love that style. And they wore Alpine Stars high point boots, motocross boots. And they're famous because of another character. Can you think who it is? Can you think? And yes, you're right. Yes, it is Goose from Mad Max. Besides Goose, Snake Plissken. And I've got those boots. I've got them. And I've got the earlier ones than the ones that Snake Plissken, sorry, the ones that Kurt Russell wore. And I can tell you for a fact that in Battlestar Galactica, and because they wore those boots with all the side buckles and all that, and they look fantastic. And in Battlestar Galactica, they let the buckles really, the straps I should say, hang loose and sort of flap, and it gave it kind of like a weird sort of fluttery effect. And Jim Goose in Mad Max did the same thing. Pliskin doesn't. Here's a nicely buckled and flattened down. But all these people that wore those Alpine Stars high points, they are not. They're modified. The soles have been changed and they've been made more comfortable. You've got to remember, those boots are motocross boots. You're not meant to walk around in them. Oh, you've done a victory lap maybe, and then you can stride off and unbuckle your helmet strap and all that, and just stride across like and get your trophy and all that like. But you're not walking very far. Why? Those boots are massively reinforced. Massively reinforced. You've got steel toe caps on them as well, and an outside, steel brace on them as well. The heels are reinforced, the soles are reinforced. They are rigid as hell to make sure that you are cushioned with any impact, or you're dragged beneath the bike, or a bike goes over your foot. These things are super strong, which means you can't run in these motherfuckers. You can't. You see Pliskin running everywhere, climbing up and down fire escapes, smashing through windows, fighting it out with slag in the arena with the spiked baseball bats, climbing over the 69th Street Bridge and all that. No, you can't. In the actual proper boots, you can't do that. And I've got the proper boots. So the best I can do is go to Comic-Con, which I've done many times, or other sort of film fests and that, or cosplay events, as Pliskin in the entire gear. But I tell you what, within the first hour, oh God, it's not comfortable. It is not. But you persevere for your art, don't you? You suffer for it. But I've walked around Liverpool as Snake Pliskin, gone into pubs and clubs and booths, and I've danced in Pliskin's gear and them fucking boots. I tell you what, you may step on people's toes. You don't know it, but they fucking do. And but no one's gonna mess with Pliskin. I even put the golf cleats. Kurt Russell went, look, everything about this guy should be weaponized. So he put golf cleats, that little steel brace around the toe, on the sole. He put golf cleats on there, spiked golf cleats, so he can fucking kick someone or drag it down someone's shin. As I know for a fact, because I did that exact thing accidentally on a train going to Comic-Con, and I'd put the golf cleats on mine, and I thought at the time, don't go out clubbing. If you're dancing, you're gonna rip someone to shreds. It'll be like American Werewolf, be scratched to hell. And I got on the train, and I had the eye patch on, leather jacket, and the proper vest and all that. I also had the Ingram Mac 10. Worry not. It wasn't gonna hurt anyone. I had everything there, all the kit, the life clock, everything, the tracer. And of course I had the hair for real, and people are going on and going like, I got the keks, the Siberian camo pattern combat keks. And people are going like, and these are kids, and the mums are going, what? Who? What? But I was sitting down, and like this woman, younger woman, like came and sat down, and I moved my feet and all that. I was horribly aware of these cleats, these fucking spikes. And anyway, as the train's rumbling on and we're going for a few stops, I reshuffled my leg, and I caught it, didn't I? With the spikes. And oh my God, and if by any quirk of fate she's out there, and don't, when it's blameless acclaim, don't suddenly go, oh, that was me, Kilt-Man, you owe me, because she was sound about it. I went, oh my God, hon, I am so sorry. Oh God, I knew I shouldn't. I'm going to Comic-Con, and I've got a YouTube channel. Actual Marines, blah 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 blah. I've got a husky, she's gorgeous, you'll love her. You can come and meet her. And the girl had a scratch. She went, oh God, don't worry about it. It's fine. She was Comic-Con, and she was like, so what are you? And we did get talking. We didn't meet up later. I did ask if that was on the card now. Well, if you like that kind of scratch, I can be a werewolf as well, you know. I'm a right beast in bed, you know. And no. So, yeah, be careful. But what are the costumes I like? It's Star Trek, obviously, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica. Blake 7, what did they wear? Did they have any uniform in that? Did they? Pretty certainly didn't. They wore their individual character costumes. I'm trying to think what else. Well, Outland, obviously. Outland fits the bill with Alien. These are workaday people in a sort of a Jupiter moon mining colony. They're wearing trainers and plimsolls. They're wearing the exact same clobber, the exact same sort of thing, the same style ethic as in the Nostromo and the crew for Nostromo that John Mollo created. John Mollo created the costumes for Outland as well. So baseball caps with, like, you know, the logos and all this, and you can see Mr. Kentucky Fudge is wearing the Con-Am 27, which is from, you probably can't see it because the sun's streaming through. Whoa! That was an accident there, waiting to happen, wasn't it? Con-Am 27. Sorry, Kentucky Fudge has only got a little head. So to make baseball cap sit on him properly, I often use my fingerless leather gloves on his top of his bolts. And I just knocked a stormtrooper over, but you know their prones are falling down anyway, or getting their heads clonked. Oh dear. In the land of Hamfistia, they have a statue of Kilt-Man. Well, in what's becoming a new sort of trend on Kilt-Man videos, chaos has ensued. Destruction. And I just knocked over the wonderful alien snail, the Xeno snail. Don't worry, he's not damaged, he survived. The stormtrooper, on the other hand. But yeah, Buck Rogers, the white sort of skin-tight suit, and Gil Gerard, who plays Buck Rogers, he was great, and you got fucking Tweaky, Billy, nice one, Buck, you know. But they have soldiers that wear these fucking uniforms. Soldiers in bright white skin tight, and I like these costumes because they. How many more self-incriminating lines can I come with? They're ribbed. They're ribbed, you know, for more pleasure. But they're sort of ribbed, embroidered across. And I think they look, when you was a kid, I was like, oh God, I want one of those costumes, it looks fantastic. But the soldiers, unless they're deployed to the ice planet of Hoth, what use is a bright white fucking combat suit? Bright white! Ridiculous! But Erin Gray as Colonel Wilma Deering looked outstanding. I think we all agree with that. But yeah, what else? Other costumes? What other spacey costumes are there? I mean, obviously, if you go back to like the 50s and 60s, they all wore cumbersome spacesuits and all that, like. And one of the progenitors for Alien, Planet of the Vampires by Mario Bava in 1964, I think it is, which has clearly Ridley Scott and anyone connected with Alien cannot deny the fact that they ripped off the space jockey from what the crew of the vessel in Planet of the Vampires, answering a distress call from a previous expedition. They arrive there and they find this huge skeletal fossilized alien in a big sort of seat lying back. It is exactly the space jockey, but they're wearing sort of black shiny PVC costumes. And this is the thing that Mollo obviously rallied against, and Ridley Scott at the time. Look, they're not going to wear these sort of, you know, clean and trendy, and they all one and the same sort of space suits. They're not doing that. Don't forget, these people are asleep for the majority of their time, and when they're awake, you know, they're obviously coupling ships to great refineries. They're doing their job. They're working in, you know, the undercarriage of the Nostromo, fixing air shafts and steam vents and all that, like, and getting dripped on from the coolant and all that, like. So they're going to wear comfortable clothes, and that's why the flight suits of the RAF really fit the bill, and look the part. They look lived in. They look like, oh, if you're working on that ship, yeah, you'd be wearing that. You wear something fancy and clean, not like Space 1999. You know, they're going to be all the same sort of colour and skin tight. It's just not going to happen. You're going to wear appropriate gear. It's hot, it's sticky because of the you know, it's a claustrophobic environment, or it could be very cold, you know, but in certain areas. But I think the Nostromo gives the impression that it's very warm on board that ship. Cheers, y'all. But I love the costume design, and of course Ripley's gear. What I always forget, I hate trainers. What are their shoes? Are they basketball boots? No, they're not basketball boots. They're baseball boots, aren't they? But they're super like rare and trendy because they were from the time. And their double Casio watch. Chris from the Cask, he's determined to get that. He's determined to get, you know, a replica of Ripley's watch, and I think it's good. We've had a few debates lately about which is better, Alien or Aliens. And he doesn't like Aliens at all. So in his mind, it's only got to be Alien, hasn't it? And I've discussed this with you guys so many times over the years. Alien is a haunted house horror movie, sci-fi horror movie, but it's a haunted house movie. There's things in the dark corners. You go in the dark rooms, something's going to jump out and go boo at you. You've got that. Endless shocks. Aliens is a different movie altogether. It has monsters multiplied. It has soldiers. It has action. It has great set pieces. It evolves the story from the first one and the life cycle of the aliens, and it creates a whole new one with the Queen. It puts kids in jeopardy. You had cats in jeopardy in the first one. Now it's kids. And it is a wonderful film. Like in my video about what's the best or what's your favourite Rambo movie, across the board, no one is going to argue that First Blood is the best movie, the best made, the best told, the most complete, the most emotional story, most believable. But it ain't the one you watch all the time. And as all the feedback I got, and then copious debates in pubs and that, everyone agreed, no, we watched Rambo First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3. And Rambo 3 scored very highly, judging by the feedback from all you guys. And I love that. I'm a massive fan of Rambo 2, Rambo 3 are fucking awesome. And I will watch them a million times more than First Blood. But First Blood is also genius and I love it to bits. But when I'm in the mood for a Rambo film, I'm not going to put that one on. I'm going to put on him running around, fucking slow motion for explosions and, you know, and kicking ass. Pure cartoonic, inflated, muscle-bound uber violence. I'm afraid that's what I'm going to plump for. And with Alien and Aliens, it's not quite the same. I kind of know before, while I'm in the mood to watch something's going to scare the shit out of me, it's going to be Alien. I want to watch an Alien film, but I want action. And I want great suspense and really taut action scenes. Aliens. And when I'm watching either, if I'm sitting there watching Alien, I'm going, oh, this is by far the best. There's nothing comes close to this. Nothing. And then I go and watch Aliens. And go, This takes the foundation of Alien and it really builds and does more and does this and does that. And they go, this one's the best. So, horses for courses. Xenos for Dreamos. You know, it is what it is. No one can tell you what your favourite movie is. No one can insist upon you. We all have opinions because they're like arseholes. Everyone's got one. But it's fun to debate these things because there's no right or wrong answer. And you can argue till you're blue in the face. And I've done this in the past. And, you know, I can be quite persuasive. So I've won people over and they go, oh, no, actually, you're all right. And I've walked away and then gone, oh, no, it's wrong for me to bully and badger someone. But because I can talk endlessly and I know all the facts and figures and I know all the backgrounds and they might have only seen a film that we're talking about, say a paltry 150 times, where the likes of you may have seen it like 10,000 times, you know, and you think you're an expert, but you can talk people around, you know, and sometimes that's great. Sometimes you think afterwards, I shouldn't have done that. I'm guilty of it too, folks. I'm guilty. I'm guilty. Guilty, Your Honour. Cheers, y'all. This is lovely stuff. This will go down very quickly. I've realised that. So let's have a look at the jacket again. I will try and find who does this jacket. I may have to ask Astradyne, because I do recommend it. I'll put it on again. So there's our ash patch. Now remember, I'm not saying oh I made a mistake. The one I bought was much lighter. No, I'd already spotted the fact it was lighter, and I thought, is it really that light when it turns up? I'm going to take a punt on that because it looks like Ash's one, which is different from everybody else's. So I got it, and it is different. It is much lighter. You can see the two together. Look at that, massively different. Massively different. So just trying to see, is it a maker's name? I think it says A Create, and this is a medium size. You've got a nice deep internal pocket on the left side. You've got a zip pocket on the left side as well. You've got the Weyland Yutani emblem there. There's some kind of like, I'm not sure what the hell the sort of triptych there is meant to mean. I really don't know. You've got this little leather thing here, which I was going to remove it because I thought that doesn't belong. It says New Way Store Update, hum it. But I don't think that's not the company who's made this. New Way Store Updates, hum it. Hum it is spelled Hummit, hum it, one word. I have no idea what that means. You watch when I Google this now. The cap's gone the other side on it. It's gone asymmetrical. It's gone askew. That may be the company, but I was going to take that off. So I don't know. But yeah, that back print, which I think is great. And like I've always said, a lot of the caps, t-shirts and vests that I've got and have been sent by many of you fantastic people, they are companies that are in, or corporations in movies, but they're cult movies. So when you go out wearing them, I love it when people look at it, they might not have most of them haven't got a clue what it is, and most don't give a shit either. Oh, here's Kilt-Man posing again, like, and he's going to get two large grouse. Look at him, thinks he's dead hard with his whiskies. I'm sure people do think this, but I am. But you can get people to go like, oh, I like that. Is that from The Shining? Or some obscure Jaws reference. Jaws, you can be as obscure as you like, but people are going to recognize it. There was one which Astradyne sent me again. It was a hoodie for American Wealth in London. It was a green hoodie, and it's sort of like a really sort of high stylized image of the British Isles. But if you looked at it, it's almost like you shut your eye and squint. If you look at it, it's actually the American Wealth biting a huge chunk out of part of northwestern England, and people have spotted it. They've gone like, because I have worn that. That was winter time when I got that, and just gone. So I was able to wear it, and people were going like, and you can see them looking at it and going like, that's a bit green for you, isn't it, Kilt-Man? Because the whole thing's green, and it's in black, the actual image. And it doesn't say American Wealth anywhere, but it's just like, and some are going like, and you can see them, it's all coming together, and they're going like, it's life force, isn't it? And you go, no, no, it's not. No, they're going like, is that meant to be is that the werewolf from America? That's the werewolf, isn't it? And you go, yeah, it is. You've seen it. And obviously you get conversation going. Big one for like having conversations with people that you don't know. That's when we go away, Mrs. Kilt-Man might like to go for a wander around the shops, a wander around the town, And what do you think I do? I go to pub. I find the oldest, most traditional pub wherever we go to. And we've travelled away a lot this year so far, all sort of in the UK, but places we've not been before. And I've found these old, traditional, character-based pubs full of a lot of older people, maybe. Well, I'm an older person now. God, no, don't let it happen to me. And but I walk in looking like this, for example, and the kilt is a big sort of, people ignore all that crap. Nostromo, what the hell's that mean? Who cares? Isn't that a book by Joseph Conrad and all that? Something like that, anyway. And they go, what's with the kilt? Is that your tartan then? Are you Scottish? And I'm going like, all right, mate, how you doing, lad? I'm from fucking Merseyside, like, the Highlands of the Wirral. I'm William Wallacey. But you get a rapport going, and you end up talking to people. Talking to people is essential. We're in a world full of hate and division, which I'm going to say right now is being bolstered and enforced by governments. They are making us hate one another. They are turning brother against brother, creating armies on either shore. What's that from? What is it now? Let's try and get this right. When the Jews return to Zion, how apt is this? When the Jews return to Zion and a comet rips the sky, we've got Comet 31 Atlas coming at us, and the Holy Roman Empire rises, then you and I must die. From the eternal sea he rises, creating armies on either shore, turning man against his brother till man exists no more. Pop quiz, folks. What's that from? I'm not going to say right now. I'm not. You can answer in the comments below. Interactive, don't you know? But, folks, my point is, talk to strangers. Talk to people. When you go somewhere different, or you haven't got to go somewhere different. You go to a place which you go to all the time, but someone different comes in, and if you get the chance to, just let on. Yeah, all right, mate. Okay. See, Scousers are very good at this. Because general welcome to anybody is like, all right, mate. Just in passing, all right, mate. You okay, mate? Well, in our vernacular, in our part of the world, that's a sort of like, you okay? And you mean it. So they go like, yeah, all right, mate, yeah, boss, you okay? Sound, yeah, blah, blah, blah. That's just said in passing on the street. But you've got an affinity there straight away. You might not know them, but you've now broken the ice, they've broken the ice, and the two of you made a connection. And next time you see it, we'll let on again. It's great. Whenever you're somewhere different, people, like, if you go down south, I'm not knocking Londoners and Cockneys. Always had a great time. Always had a great time in London. Yeah. I don't like London the way it is at the moment. I don't want to be there, but I've always had a great time there. I'll hyper alert, always. But when you talk to people, it's not the norm in London, especially, and the environs of London, to go like, yeah, all right, mate, you okay? And like, it's kind of look at you like, especially on the tube, and everyone's in your face. You go like, all right, mate, Christ, are you okay there? You're right, but they're kind of stunned a little bit, and then I don't know, maybe it's just me because I'm a little fucking stocky guy with his fucking guns are on show and he's wearing a kilt for another thing. You don't fuck with that. And if he's been alright to you, then be alright back. So it becomes an icebreaker. So even in London, in pubs, which are very sort of impersonal, I've found, well, you've got to try and change that. Don't be afraid. There's nothing wrong with like just letting on to someone and striking up a comment. Okay. I don't mean stalking people and like harassing people. Oh, there's a lovely couple sitting there and you go and force yourself on them. Hello, I'm known as the Kilt-Man. I have a YouTube channel, you know. You don't sound very Scottish. Well, I'm actually from fucking Liverpool. I did that with a Scottish accent, I don't believe it. But you know what I mean? You don't force it on people, but just be yourself. But don't be afraid to let on. There are many people I know around here, especially, who go to the pub all the different boozers that I frequent, and I know them all, but they go in there on their own and they're very quiet. Of course, fine. But what they do is they get their, it's always a pint. They get their pint, and they sit and they sit, or they stand at the bar as well. They keep their head down. They're not wearing earphones, but they keep themselves to themselves. They don't make eye contact. They don't want that. Remember, some people don't want it. They go out into a social area because to them, the socializing is just standing there or sitting there on their own, but listening to all the hubbub. And even though they're sitting there on their own and not interacting, they're absorbing all that's happening around them, and they come in all the time. So they'll get to know, because of the names and all that, everyone around them, all the regulars, and they'll hear those stories and how it's progressed day after day. But they don't get involved, and no one hassles them. Well, I've always made a point of at least letting on to these people, and there's many, and because they don't have a conversation with you, but they've heard people talking to you or talking about you. So I've actually had, well, I was going to say recently, but I've had it all the time. So there's this certain bunch of people that drink in different pubs, and after a while I've gone in and gone, all right, mate, you okay? Or I used to say, brother, all right, brother, you all right? And they go, all right, Chris. Or Kilt-Man, yeah, all right, Chris. And I thought, I've never given you my name. We've never been introduced, but they've heard it from other people. You can bring people in, make them feel welcome, simply by a little nod. All right, mate. That's all you need to do. All you need to do. And they feel welcome. It's important. Very, very important. As is this. Well, Kilt-Man, how to spin out a video about having put a patch. Where's the... I've even forgotten the arm. It's on now. A video about putting a patch on the arm of a jacket. When I first got the jacket off Astradyne, I put the cap on and the vest on. I thought, I'm going out, and it was about, I don't know, 25, 26 degrees. And I said to my daughter, I said, like, look at this, Nostromo. Turned around and said, Nostromo. And she went, Dad, you look fucking stupid. And she never swears. And she went, Dad, you look fucking stupid. So I went, right, cap thrown off, jacket ripped off, kept the vest on then. I'll try and find the link to get this jacket. If I can't find it, I'll have to ask Astradyne where he got it from, because I don't know. It's not Amazon or anywhere like that. But there are many aliens and Weyland pastrami, Weyland Yutani inspired clobber, and of course with Alien Earth you're going to get a lot more as well. I don't think the fashions in the Alien series and franchise have been improved on from Alien and Aliens and Alien 3. In Alien 3, well, they're convicts, and they're wearing it's very brown, isn't it? It's very brown, dark brown, and ochre and all that, like. And but they do wear American N2B flight jackets with the big fairy bits. They're the jackets where when you zip the whole thing up, it comes right like that into like a cone in front of your head. So you've got a bit of a Xeno head. They missed a trick there, thinking about it, but it's all fair lined. If what's his face? We call him so and so because that's his IQ. I forgot his fucking name now. Well, he wears it, but he wears it massively sort of unzipped, so it's the fair hood, face front is over his shoulders. But if he put it on, he would have resembled a sort of fairy mushed Xeno. I should have done that. I've only just thought of that. If you zip it up and because it comes forward in an alien sort of head shape. Things you think of when you've been swigging whiskey in the AM, because it still is AM. Cheers, y'all. This is lovely stuff, this, you know. So, comment below, let me know about what are your favourite film costumes and TV show costumes, and would you wear it? I've always been one for for dressing up. My big kilt mama would tell you this. But then she was an actress. So I grew up, my dad would have all uniforms there. And you got to remember that, I go off on tangents, Victorian and earlier Edwardian tunics, the guys were a lot smaller. So the tunics are very small. So my dad couldn't fit into them. But he'd give them to, Christopher, yeah, put this on. And I'd be there and like some kind of like, you know, one of those bloody, oh God, I forget the regiment now. Oh, he'll be going, you idiot. But it'd be a red tunic, but very old, pre-Victorian. And it would fit me. And he'd be like, right, I need to adjust that button there. Right, there's some stitching adrift there. Because he couldn't see it properly, he wanted to see it on someone. So he could put it on like a mannequin. Or take me to the fucking military affair and I'd parade me around. It's 600 quid, and for that you might get the kid as well, like, you know. Can't be arsed with it. But, alright, you're getting a bit loud, aren't you? Let's go back onto the main theme, the more quieter, more sepulchral sort of eeriness. But they're a lot smaller in those days. Where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. But so I used to wear a lot of these military uniforms, and I got a real taste for it. I mean, Mum was an actress, so she was always bringing home costumes, and she and her mates were always like, you know, stitching things together and making, you know, repairs, and then off they go to the next matinee and then the evening show and all that. Like, so I wasn't wearing hair costumes, but I was in an environment where there was costumes, clothes all the time, so it's nothing new to me. But what I do remember as a kid was, and a lot of you will remember this too if you're a similar sort of age, in the 70s they had a US cavalry uniform, a Confederate soldier's uniform, you're never going to get that these days, and Apache or Sioux costume as well, Indian costume. I had them all, and what they entailed was a little peak cap, a blue one or a grey one, and they were felt with like, so one would be blue, one would be grey, and a little stick-on sort of golden sort of cross sabres, so it would be on the front, and I loved that. The blue one would it'd be ultra cheap, you know, it'd be nothing. You get the cap, you get a jacket, little buttons on it. Again, there'd be, you know, cross sabres would be on it somewhere, a bit of gold trim on it. Blue kecks with a yellow stripe down the side. Oh God, I so loved it. But I got the Confederate model, which is exactly the same, but just in grey. Just in grey, but with the yellow stripe down, the grey pants. And the Indian, Native American costume was like a little war sort of chest piece, a leather sleeveless sort of jacket, and a long headdress. And you got little pathetic little kids' feet, little moccasin boots, and you got like sort of kecks with like a bit of a sort of trim on the side, like suede stitched together stuff. And I'd wear these things all the time. I'd wear the US Cavalry one majority of the time, like. But we go to funerals or big do's and that, like. And everyone would be dressed formally, and then there'd be this guy in like a fucking little cavalry uniform, big mad curl, yeah, and the cap would be sort of stuck on with a pin through my big ginger, you know, Annie afro. So the cap would be on like that, and the things I confess, it's ridiculous, isn't it? But sometimes I'd go in the Indian one, the Indian headdress, which went, because you're only absolutely short arse, like went right down to the floor, and you'd be at like someone's wake. And all these families be going like, have you seen him? That's Chris, the Christopher of the McEnany side of the family. One day, I'm telling you, he'll wear a kilt. Mark my words, he'll be wearing a kilt. And he'll go, cross themselves. Well, they were right, weren't they? Oh, aye, they were right. So yeah, costumes, clothes. Not been one for suits. Got suits. I've only worn a suit in later life when I've been emulating Bond, and that was Daniel Craig. the Daniel Craig tenure. I thought, right, and I got 2 suits. I got a Quantum of Solace. No, it is the No. I got the suit from fucking hell. What's the first one? Casino Royale. Got that, the big tux, the one that she measures up for. I've got that, and I got the grey suit from the opening scenes of Skyfall. I have that. Not his one, but the official one, the exact one, you know. And yeah. Will I wear them? No. I have worn them, but I'm never going to wear them again, am I? No. I'm kilted. You can hear the rain coming down. We need rain. Massively need a lot of rain in this country at the moment. And but it's not clearing up the atmosphere. It's still muggy, it's still hot. The awakening from hypersleep. You can't hear it because of the rain though, can you? Let's just go on to I'll turn this up now. This is the track from Freud. Jerry Goldsmith scored the film Freud, and 2 of his tracks, 2 brilliant tracks from Freud, were brought in by Terry Rawlings, the editor of Alien, and Ridley Scott. Much to Jerry Goldsmith's chagrin, having scored all of Alien. I've discussed this many times before. He scored all of Alien, and but they then removed his score for Dallas in the Air Shaft and brought in what I will and I'm not a big fan of Ridley Scott these days, but he still made Alien and Blade Runner, Black Hawk Down and fucking Gladiator. Jesus Christ, you know. Well, he didn't make Jesus Christ, although he likes to think he probably did. But I think they made a really good decision here, because Goldsmith's score, actual score for Alien for these scenes, is nowhere near as tense and exciting as what you get. Now I know what you're going to say. Well, that's only because the first time I saw the movie, when I saw it back in the day when it first came out, that's how you remember it. So when you hear what he wrote, oh, that's even better again. Sometimes that's the case, but not in this example, I don't think. I know I'm talking all over it, but you've got those iris, whoosh, you know, close the shaft behind me. Bloody rain. I like he finds all the goo on the floor. He's like, sorry about the rain, folks. It's the cellos. You hear that? They're cellos that go in there. That's from this entire track's from Freud, and there's 2 tracks combined that do that entire sequence. And they've got the motion trackers, and Lambert's going. It's got to be around you there somewhere. Poor Lambert. Possibly the worst death she has. Oh well, hang on. Full version. Dallas, cocooned and being assimilated. Yeah, I ain't good. But Lambert gets raped. Oh yeah, no, you don't see it, but we know what happens. We know what's meant to have happened. Remember, Goldsmith scored this music to the Kirk Douglas movie about Freud, called Freud. But Freud went through a lot of weirdness. Some very nightmarish elements in that film. But it fits perfectly to this Dallas and the air shaft sequence. I can't imagine it without it, to be honest. Dallas, are you sure? It's got to be around you somewhere. Dallas, move, move! It's coming right towards you. And he's going like, you know, I want to get out of here, you know. Move, Dallas, move! It's heading right towards you. And he's like, and the camera prowls down behind him, and he makes it down the ladders. His torch. Oh God, Dallas, move, Dallas! And it gets him like. That Yapakato throws down the flame unit. That's all we found. No blood, no Dallas, nothing. It's fucking genius. So, Alien lives on. And Alien lives on for a lot of different reasons. The fabulous story, ripped off, of course, from It, the Terror from Beyond Space and Planet of the Vampires. We've covered it. It's done. It's done. Doesn't really matter. Alien stands alone. Fabulous design for Alejandro. I forgot his name now. It was a Nigerian student, but he was like 7 foot tall. You are gonna be our fucking alien, you know. And he must have been offended by that, like. But he's great. And although it's a man in his suit, Ridley Scott wisely keeps most of the movements and the editing with Terry Rawlins to you never kind of see it properly. I know you do, but it's only sort of on the retina, you know, your mind's eye. And it always moves in a different sort of way, very graceful, balletic, or super quick fashion. When it takes out Yaphet Kotto Parker, like, Lammy, get out of the goddamn way! Lammy, you gotta move! And she's going, aah! And he goes for it, and it turns around and fucking whips him with its tail. And he's like, fucking, and then grabs him, whoosh, and the watermelon explodes. But they wisely keep its movements and its shape, even though it's a man in a costume. It's such an incredibly, Geiger's design is so out there. It's so spiny and reptilian and weird banana head and a glass dome and a skull beneath it. If you look properly, you can see the skull beneath it, and an internal mouth which can do all that stuff as well. It's outstanding. You can't beat it. Goldsmith's music, whether you're talking Freud stuff or his actual composed music for Alien, which is in the film, the majority of the film. Let's turn it down again now. It's going to get loud. No, but go on to the creepy derelict. The art design, the derelict spaceship, and this. It's not even Kilt-Man. It's not even in the film. But my point is, the workaday look and feel of the characters. You already, when they wake up and you see them having coffee and they're all like fucking drowsy and like, oh god, you know exactly who they are. You're with them. We all wake up like that. Oh god, I don't want to do this. What time is it? And you have another 3 or 4, months in bed. In their case, it's just like, it's workaday stuff. And no one's happy with that rat race routine, and they've got it, and they're pure menials. Half of them are menials, well, Parker and Brett certainly, the rest navigator, warrant officer, but they've all got stuff to do on the bridge. They've all got specific duties which have got high importance to survival of the ship and the crew. Little do they know, the company they work for don't give 2 fucks about them. No, not 1 fuck is given, to be honest. The cat has the best life of all. And you little shit. Stay here. Not the line. Right, folks. I have been and always shall be Kilt-Man. So please, in the meantime, and it's ever, I don't know, Xeno, Yutani, fashion in between time, please keep it Celtic, keep it Celtic. And I'm going to see you all later. So let's be honest. How cool is that jacket? Look at that. I mean, you got the patch and you got the back print. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'll try and find the link. You can get all sorts. There's hoodies, there's t-shirts, fucking millions of t-shirts. But there's other jackets. And, you know, for the more dedicated, you can go out and source the original RAF flight and ground crew and flight suits. You can get them and do the stitching. I know people that have done it, and so it can be done. But you'd need someone like my dad, Big Kilt Papa, who would have those fucking uniforms already. Although he'd sell them to you at a vastly inflated price. My dad didn't cut no corners. He didn't do no. After John Mollo ripped him off, and I'm saying it right now, I've said it a million times before, all the stuff he sent and never got it back. It was under a proviso we'd get it back. Never did. Never did. And he supplied uniforms to Bridge Too Far and Zulu Dawn. And we won't go into what happened with Bridge Too Far. We won't go into that. Not again. It's painful even for me. But Zulu Dawn got everything back. Everything back. So, never a lender nor a borrower be. A lot of truth to that, you know. A lot of truth to that. You lend someone a book, never get it back. Never get it back. And then you're too afraid to ask for it back. So just don't do it. Just don't do it, folks. Right, so a lot of life lessons have been learned here, I hope, today. Like, to let on to people. Be happy. Be yourselves. And the guy who's alone, or whoever is alone, at a bar or a pub, sitting in a corner or at the bar, just let on to them. Don't like, and if they don't let on back, don't worry about it. You've done your bit, and then the next time will come when they'll remember that you let on, and they'll go, and you see what happens. It costs nothing, doesn't do any harm. The rain's coming down, but the sun's just come out. Have you noticed that? The sun has come out again. Right, I am definitely out of here. I've got another video coming later on. How many times have I said that? No, there is. Because, like, it's a little secret. It's still 2025. We're still in August. We're only just over halfway through. Jaws is semi-centennial. Jaws is 50 this year. And we've got a lot more of Jaws to come. I didn't want to saturate the channel with it because I was in danger of doing that. But no, there's been a lengthy gap. More Jaws. Right, folks, I'm out of here. Take it easy. Be happy. Be yourselves. And keep on trucking, you all. No matter what part of the galaxy you're in.